I'm Kaitlin.
And I am Jillian.
And we are the hosts of the OK Drama podcast.
We're two friends recap and break down K-dramas.
Woo.
We're back with part 2.
We're back. Yeah. We freaking blazed through this one.
Oh yeah. The second half and the first half, honestly. Like, you blew through the first half really quickly. And it took me a minute. And then once I started, like, really watching, I was like, okay, let's do this. Yes. And then I think the second half, I watched it in the span of, like, I feel like 4 or 5 days, honestly.
Yeah, I think you did. Because I feel like on Monday, you were like, I'm on episode 12. And then on Friday, you were like, I'm finishing it.
Yes.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was a very, very good drama. This was a good romance drama that wasn't like overly romance, and it wasn't a whole lot of will they, won't they sort of thing. It was good.
Yeah, it was like, even though the episodes were long, they kind of got to the point with everything.
Agreed.
Which I appreciate, because it's like, we don't need to keep doing the same will they, won't they, or like, will this happen? And it's like, obviously it will.
Yeah.
But yes. Okay, well, first housekeeping, I guess. You can find us on our website, okdrama.com, and all of the social medias. OKDramaPod on Twitter,
OKDrama Podcast
on Instagram and Facebook. And we have a Patreon where you'll get bonus episodes and
episodes early.
What else? Oh, unrelated to housekeeping, but basically just open the show notes and you'll see stuff there.
Yes.
So I went kind of down this like YouTube rabbit hole of watching like North Korean defectors reacting to Crash Landing on You.
Okay.
And for the most part, they said like it was somewhat accurate, but they, like, if anything, they made it more I guess hospitable. Like they said that most people only get electricity like a few hours a month.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And basically, like, everything that Sodan wore, like, you would not be able to wear that in North Korea. And what else? I guess, like, the accents they kind of had comments on, but I'm like, I don't know what that, like, I didn't know. I
guess also, like,
of that.
The playfulness of when things were found, like the singing rice cooker, and they were just like, oh, you, and they just, like, took it away, like, yeah, no big deal, you know?
Yeah, they said, like, bribery, like, basically the only way you can survive in North Korea is through bribery. So, like, it just happens. But they were like, no, like, the way everything looked was, like, pretty accurate. And I didn't realize, because, like, I don't know what military stuff means. But apparently, like, Jung-hyuk's dad is, like, second in command kind of a thing. Like, he's super high up. Okay. I didn't realize how high up he was, but, like...
He seemed like a big deal, but... Yeah. I didn't know how big.
Yeah, he was... I think one of the girls said, like, I think he's supposed to be, like Kim Jong-un's, like, general. Like, he's right there with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So...
No wonder his son had a lot of access to things, and everyone made a big deal.
Yeah, they were like, basically only someone at that level could, like, study abroad. And yeah, that's why everyone was like, oh my god.
That was another thing. That was another thing that I was a little confused about, is like how he was in the beginning able to go to school for piano and stuff and be in like Switzerland and stuff, no problem. And then it comes up later on and towards the end of the series, which we'll talk about or whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, he got those connections.
Interesting. I need to watch some of those videos.
Yeah, I can send you some links,
cool.
but then I just started watching like North Korean defector videos on YouTube, and it's like really sad but also very interesting.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Interesting.
But anyway, let's
jump into
move on. Yeah, because we have a lot. I have a lot of notes, and I'm excited to talk about the second half.
All right. Well, I'm going to read reviews here. These are not reviews by us, but reviews you found. Right. Where did you find these?
I think my drama list. Okay. Neither of these had titles. So, like with previous series we've watched, they'll give a title to the review, but they didn't. Okay. So that's why I labeled them Review 1 and Review 2.
All right. So we're going to start with Review 1. And I quote, "Okay, this was seriously not what I was expecting. I originally thought that this was about a spoiled rich girl getting into a sticky spot, but it isn't at all that. She's not a spoiled rich brat. She is smart, confident, kind, and hardworking. True, 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 true." That was me. Completely different from so many other rich girl/boy K-dramas. I have watched several series that have originally aired on Netflix, and they have been blunders. This one was surprisingly refreshing and fun to watch. I laughed so hard on some scenes. There were so many scenes that were heartfelt and that made you feel like you wanted to cry too. I can only give this series a 10. It was unique, funny, heartfelt, romantic, and had some action to go along with it. Even the small fight scenes were good. The leads had an amazing chemistry, and the supporting cast really felt like a major part of the series. Their presence was felt, and they weren't there. And if they weren't there, you'd notice. I seriously grew attached to all the cast. I have to agree with this one. Yeah. And
yeah, I was gonna say spoiler. I cried through basically every episode. After episode 10, I was just
in tears the rest of the series.
Yes, just awful.
Yeah,
but so good at the same time.
And normally, the K-drama shows that are super, super long, 16, 18 episodes, and they're each an hour and a half, hour 45, 2 fucking hours long. It becomes to be a little too much for me, because they're movies essentially, 16 movies that I'm watching. And it's a lot to get through. But I didn't feel like this show was long. I didn't feel like it was just dragging on, and I was oh my god, is it gonna end?
Yeah, they made every moment count.
The only episode where I was okay, this can end now, was honestly the last episode. Because it was straight up 2 hours long. And it felt like not a whole lot happened in the final episode. That was the only one where I just felt like it dragged a little too much.
Yeah, they kind of milked it. And I was how are they going to end up together? Let's just get...
Yeah.
Let's get to them being together or not.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch her get texts. Sorry. I mean, I do, but I don't. I can only watch that for so long.
Yeah. Checking her phone so often.
Uh-huh.
All right. So we have review number 2. Quote, "Story, 5 out of 10. Most brownie points go to the second lead story development. -2 for Seti's foiled escape plan on multiple repeats, plus a lot of cheesy, unnecessary, although I acknowledge that cheesiness is subjective. -3 for the senseless tragedy towards the second leads. They sacrificed the second lead story just to inject a sob story, which isn't even necessary. We know it's unnecessary because the main story will still stand even in the absence of
Gu
Sung-jun's death. Yeah, I forgot his name, and they just put it in initials.
Abbreviation.
Yeah. All right, and then we have cast 10/10. I'm feeling generous because everyone did fall, and did fall.
What is maybe well, I don't know.
Yeah,
these are not always English speakers.
That's true. Okay.
So
I'm feeling generous because everyone did. I'm going to say well. And no obvious flaws. Most brownie points go to Ye-jin and Jung-hyun and He?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Ye-jin is the woman who plays Sadie.
Okay.
I don't know who the other.
Okay.
I bet if I scroll up, I can.
You'll see them. Yeah. All right. Music, 7 out of 10. This person's like going through it all. I like classical music, so it is a plus. But the scoring in general does not really invoke a remarkable emotion. Like when you hear the background music, for example, in your mind, you see a flashback and you suddenly remember the emotion it evoked. Rewatch value, 1. Just seeing clips of Sodan and Sungjun hurt, so nope, not gonna watch it again. Okay, I get the music stuff. I don't remember really any of the songs on the show. There were no standouts. Honestly, though, like, the only series we've seen where there's, like, major standouts is Descendants of the Sun. Still sing that song to Lumen, our cat.
I have special note to Hotel de Luna because there's a few songs where I'm like, every time they come on.
Yes. And then Romance is a Bonus Book, the song from Janabi, which just introduced us to that amazing fucking band. But the song... I mean, the series didn't have music that I was like, oh, the song's so good.
Yeah, there was one song by IU that I have just heard because, like, I listened to a playlist with her music, and I was like, oh.
I know that song.
And it was just, it would play, like, during dramatic moments.
Gotcha,
So I'll probably associate that. I mean, of course I'll associate the drama because it was part of the soundtrack. But, I also don't really remember. I don't remember how it goes even. I just know, like, when I hear it, I'll think of.
Yeah.
I also feel bad about Sodan and Sungjun's story. It's a bummer.
Yeah.
But also, it's one of those things where, like, neither of these couples could be together. Like, sorry. They just, I mean, they could, if anything, Sungjun and Sodan could probably be together easier if he's, like, British. And I feel like she's not as high profile of a person, so.
Yeah.
They could, like, be together in Russia or whatever. But he had done too much shady shit, and I feel like they couldn't make the second leads happier than the first leads, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't have a better ending than our main couple, so.
Yeah, I think this reviewer just fell more in love with that couple than with the leads.
Which is kind of weird, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't like his character very much. Like, he kind of makes up for it later on in the second half when he helps them out and kind of redeems himself. But prior to that, like, he's just kind of a butthole. Like, and basically just tricking her into his house and then proposing to her. But, like, proposing to her in a way to where he's not really proposing to her. He's kind of, like, trying to trick her into marrying him.
Like, threatening her, basically.
It's very strange.
Tricking her. Yeah. Also, Sodan isn't super, like, charismatic, so I don't really care that much about her. Like, I don't want anything bad to happen to her, but I'm like, I don't want you to be with Jung-hyuk, so.
Yeah, she's.
I don't know.
She's very, kind of mysterious.
Yeah.
And she's got a face like she's judging you. She probably is, but she might not be. Yes. I did like her character, but I also thought she could be, like, problematic at times and, like, was very obsessive over this guy she's been in love with since high school that she didn't really know, but, like, was in love with. She's just, like, infatuated with. I don't know. But yeah, it didn't work out. But we'll get to that. We'll get to all that.
Yes.
All right. Yes. So let's jump into it. Episode 9.
Okay. So the synopsis says, Sadie faces her kidnapper. Elsewhere, Jung-hyuk is forced to spread a formidable rumor about himself in order to escape Cholgong's clutches. So, I have bullet points here that get kind of long, but
It's not too bad.
Basically, we see that Seri was kidnapped by Jung-hyuk's dad because he's like, I need to get involved. Like, we need to figure this shit out.
Because fucking Sodan had a talk with him.
Oh, that's
and
right.
tattled, essentially. Like, holy shit. What an asshole.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, I'm like, it's probably good he got involved because shit was not going well. Like, with just Jung-hyuk trying to figure it out on his own.
Jung-hyuk and his little soldier buddies.
Yeah. I refer to them as soldier baby throughout the rest of this. So
okay.
If you just see BBY,
okay,
those are the soldier babies. Yes. Also, Cholgang is like a dick and publicly arrests Jung-hyuk at his house. Like, basically, Jung-hyuk is afraid Seri got shot because like the gun goes off and he called it like it just goes off in the air. Jung-hyuk is like despondent. He's like, I need to find her. And then he gets to his house and then Cholgang is like kicking over his little tomato plant that Seri gave him. And he like takes him into custody or whatever. So yeah, so this is where he gets his little team to spread the rumor that his dad is like whatever that position is that's super close to Kim Jong-un.
And I like how the older soldier baby is like, what a stupid rumor he has us starting. Who's gonna believe this? That's not true, is it? And they're like, I don't know. Is it true? It's like...
And like the handsome one is like, I think it's true. Like he's kind of quiet about it, like, no.
It's so funny that like nobody knows, like nobody that is friends with him actually knows who he is or what his life is.
Yeah, it's interesting that he kind of keeps that on the down low. But like, I bet you wouldn't want people like exploiting that.
Definitely.
So yeah, basically, word gets back to the colonel's wife, which is kind of like the older lady of the village that like Seri made the dress for, blah blah blah. And she like yells at her husband to like get Jung-hyuk out of jail. Like, you fucking idiot. Do you know who you arrested? So yes, he gets out of jail. Meanwhile, Seri meets Jung-hyuk's parents. At first she's like, you're Sodan's dad or whatever. And like Jung-hyuk's dad is like, the fuck? Basically, because Seri just like goes off on him. And like, I think in North Korea it seems like kind of more like patriarchal where women don't speak as much or like are as outspoken maybe. Especially to someone in that position. Like, obviously Seri doesn't know who that guy is, but yeah, his mom is like so nice to her.
Yeah, and at first she thinks that they're her parents, but then she sees the mom and she's like, no, you're not her mom. Who the fuck are you? And then it finally clicks as to who these two people must be.
So Jung-hyuk's mom like brings her food and it's really sweet. And I feel like Jung-hyuk's mom is like, I'm happy like he met someone. But also it's kind of sad like that I can't work out. And then Jung-hyuk gets to the house and he's like all upset. He's yelling at his dad like, you better not have killed her. And then Sadie comes out all awkwardly. And then they have a cute / awkward little meet the parents moment where, you know, they're just having like awkward conversations with his parents and his dad kind of getting after him and stuff like that, which
and she's like,
I enjoyed.
Don't talk to your dad like that. Apologize.
Yeah. Apologize to your dad. Yes. What else happens in this episode? Oh yeah, like you were saying earlier, Sungjoon and Sodan meet at a bar, and she gets drunk and basically reveals that she's liked Jung-hyuk from, like, the first time she laid eyes on him in school, and that it wasn't, like, an arranged marriage by the parents. Like, she kind of got her mom to do the arranged marriage.
Yeah.
Ew.
And it's interesting, too, because earlier in the first half, there's a moment where Jung-hyuk and Seo are talking about love or something, and she asked him where he met his first love, and she's like, was it in school? And he's like, no, I never loved anyone in school. I never, like, had a relationship with anyone in school. And then you hear her side saying, like, oh, I've been in love with him since school. Like, it was just kind of like a sad moment, like. And then when you see the flashbacks of her just, like, longingly staring at him, but he just, like, walks by and, like, doesn't know she exists, really.
Yeah. And then, like, when she goes to Switzerland to meet him, and he's like, nice to meet you. I hear we're getting married.
Yeah.
And she's like,
meet me.
What? Yeah. Devastating. Yeah, so they get drunk together. Sungjun takes Sodan home. Sadie plays Junghyuk's song on piano, and they're like, oh my god, we're meant to be together. He's the one that wrote the song that she became obsessed with, that saved her life, because she, like, wanted to die before she heard the song.
Jump over a fucking bridge.
So it's a very beautiful moment, but then Jung-hyuk's like, you're leaving tomorrow. And we're like, okay, that's abrupt.
Yeah.
But good, we're keeping the ball rolling. Then I said Cholgong, that fucker. I hate him.
I know, he fucking sucks.
I love later, this is like a few episodes from now, but the Colonel's wife gets mad at the Colonel for, like, teaming up with him, and she's like, he has weird eyes, I told you not to trust him.
Yeah, like, that guy fucking
so
sucks. And he just gets worse every episode. He gets, like, more insane.
Yeah.
Give it up, guy.
Yeah. So he brings his boss, again, I didn't write down the titles of these people, but he's another, like,
they're unimportant
guy.
They're just assholes.
Yeah. So that he brings, I'm just calling him his boss, to Jung-hyuk's dad's house, because his boss is, like, kind of challenging Jung-hyuk's dad for his position. And they're like, we need to do an inspection because we think, like, Sadie might be here. Like, they don't say her name, but that's essentially what's happening. And guess what? They don't find them because they're always, like, one step ahead. So good for them. And then, like, Cholgong looks like an idiot. I'm here for, but yeah.
I think he also gets, like, hit too.
Yes.
The guy's like,
his
you
boss
fucking
guy,
idiot.
Like, him. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
He deserves it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was right in this case. Like, they hid well.
He's been right many times, but he's just, like, crazy. It's like...
But yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
And a murderer. So he deserves to be kicked in the shit.
Yes,
even though he
absolutely.
Was right.
Absolutely.
Oh. Sadie's mom and the shitty sisters, or sister-in-laws, or whatever, go to her house and are terrible, but we get hints that the mom might be, like, actually on her side, because, like, her mom knows her, like, passcode, and there's a picture of her mom in the apartment, which I guess it means, like, that Sadie actually likes her mom too.
Yeah.
But
they just have a weird relationship.
Yeah, okay. I grew to kind of like the oldest brother and his wife, because they're just so, like, ditzy.
Silly.
Yeah. But, like, you know, they're not great people, but they're not, like, terrible. They're just kind of, like, dumb.
The other two, though. Woof.
Yes. So the ditzy sister-in-law is just like, let's take her jewelry, which is terrible, but also kind of, like, I get it, because Sadie has, like, an amazing closet and amazing stuff. But the second sister-in-law is like, let me take pictures of her fucking documents for her business. I'm like, wow. Terrible. And her mom is like, stop it. I don't know why they went to her apartment in the first place.
Yeah, like, there was no point. They didn't have any reason.
Yeah.
They just, like, walked around.
Yeah, I don't know if they were, like, trying to see if, like, there were clues to where she could be, or, like, maybe making sure that she's not home. I don't know.
Very strange.
But yeah, very weird. So yeah, Jung-hyuk calls in a favor, and he gets his team to go back to the DMZ so he can sneak Sadie across. Her and the baby soldiers have another sweet goodbye where they're like at the little cabin and, you know, saying all the things they say when they say goodbye. Jung-hyuk fakes being bad at directions so he can spend more time with Sadie before she goes back to the south. Then he dramatically crosses the border to give her one last goodbye kiss. It's beautiful. Yeah.
And how scary to, like, have to cross that line alone.
I know.
Like, okay, bye. Where do I go from here? Like, the fuck do I do on this side now?
I know. He's like, just walk that way, and you'll eventually see some people. Like,
okay.
Can you come with me? Yeah.
Seriously.
I don't like going anywhere by myself, honestly, so I can only imagine.
I don't either, especially, like a place
woods.
I've never fucking been, and in the woods, like...
Yeah.
I barely know where I'm at in the city half the time.
Exactly.
All right, so episode 10 is pretty fun because she's back in South Korea. Yeah. She's back to being, like, an amazing fucking boss lady, like, kicking ass. Yes. So, synopsis says, back to her cushy life in the spotlight, Sadie takes care of business, though nothing feels quite the same. Jung-hyuk goes after Chol-gang. So, she's back in South Korea. She comes in hot with a big fuck you to everyone, says Kaitlin.
Yes. Because people are, like, filming her because everyone thinks she's dead.
Yeah, they're like at a, basically like a wake for her, essentially. And there's, like, a photo of her and there are flowers everywhere and people, like, people in her office and everyone's all sad. And then she comes in like, a fucking hot-ass outfit, and she's got sunglasses on, and she, like, makes note of the people that are there, and everyone's like, who's that? And then she takes off her sunglasses, and she's like, hey, guys. And everybody just, like, loses their minds. So and she's good.
Like, sorry to the people who were happy I died.
Yes.
I'm back.
Back, bitches. Okay, and then we go back to Jung-hyuk and the little baby soldiers, and they're very sad that Sadie is gone. The little wiretapper mole, Manbok?
Yeah, I think that's his name.
Yeah, that is his name. I'm just not sure how to pronounce it.
Manbok, I think.
He approaches Jung-hyuk and gives him the watch that Sadie dropped. That was actually his brother's old watch. And he reveals that his brother was going to bring a lot of corruption to light, and this corruption had to do with Chol-gang. And this is the reason why he was killed. But before he died, he had saved a copy of the report in, like, a little disc, a little, like, chip, and that was in the watch. And I know, like, earlier it was mentioned, like, we need to find that watch. But they just, like, the bad guys just, like, mentioned it once. And that was it.
And we were like, why?
Okay. And so this is why, because they knew from, I guess, the mole that the watch had important information.
Yes. That was a good payoff.
Yes.
I was like, oh,
yes.
That's why.
Yeah. I was happy when it cuts to his son finding it, like, seeing her get kidnapped, and he picks up the watch and gives it to his dad, and his dad just, like, it's like, oh my God, like, this is... This can't be. This is like a fucking blessing. Yeah. His watch appeared. So Manbok feels indebted to Jung-hyuk since he and his brother were always so nice to him. And we also get flashbacks of his brother being, like, super fucking nice to this guy. Like, getting a nurse to come and bringing medicine for his kid when the baby was all sick. and getting him a wallet for his birthday and saying, like, I want to take you out for drinks and stuff. And that was the night he died. It's fucked up. So heartbreaking. Really, really awful. And he
was my only friend.
Yeah, and it's no wonder this guy has had such a shitty life since then. Like, imagine having to carry that all those years, like, knowing that you did that. But he feels awful. He takes responsibility for his part in the death. And then the village ladies find a note from Seti, and they're also kind of reminiscing about how much they miss her and how cool she was, and my gosh, I hope she makes it. And then we cut back to South Korea, and Seti's having to deal with her family bullshit. And there's a really fun scene where the asshole sister-in-law is, like, at a Seti's Choice business meeting, talking about, like, how she's gonna, like, merge the company with hers, and this is what we're gonna have to do because she's not here anymore. And then fucking Seti just walks in, and she's like, well, what's happening? And everyone's like, and she's like, to everyone who raised their hand for this to happen, I'm gonna pretend I didn't see it. And we're gonna start over. Thank you. So good. And the sister-in-law just can't say anything. She's just, like, in fucking shock.
Yeah.
So she's having to deal with family questions about where she was and what happened. She fakes amnesia, so she doesn't have to tell them where she was. Sungjun and Soran meet again, and Soran bails him out of being interrogated. Sungjun asks Dan if she's still going to marry Jung-hyuk, and he reveals that he helped Seti and Jung-hyuk out of his parents' house and back to the DMZ. And we cut to that whole scene, and he's, like, reluctant to save them. He's all pissed off that he had to get up early and he had to wait there and he had to do all this stuff and, like, play dumb. But it was really nice of him. Yeah, it was really nice of him to do. And it was finally a redeeming moment for him, I felt like.
Yeah. I love the moment where he's like, where's the ring I gave you?
That's right.
And she's like, and he's like, did you sell it? And she's like, no, I just left it someplace at the pawn shop. She's like, I had to do it so I could get Jung-hyuk a present. And I'm like, that's
even
not
worse.
What he wants to hear.
Oh, God.
So good.
So after everything comes to light with the shitty corruption, Chogang goes to trial for his crimes, and he's sentenced to life imprisonment at the concentration camp, which sounds scary as hell.
Yeah.
Chogang goes crazy, and he tells Jung-hyuk that he missed something, and Seti will die because of it. And he's, like, on edge scary. Now. Yeah, like, what the fuck? What did I miss? Chogang then, he's, like, looking through paperwork, trying to see, like, what did I miss? What did I miss? And then something about, like, the metal didn't add up. How much they had versus how much they found or some shit like that. And then we find out that Chogang faked his death with another armored truck, and he escapes.
Those trucks, man.
I know. He escapes to South Korea, and he threatens Jung-hyuk again.
He's like, I'm here.
And at this,
I'm gonna kill her.
At this point, it's like, dude, you fucking, like, dodged a bullet. You got out of North Korea, where you're gonna fucking die in a concentration camp. Like, go away. Why are you gonna, like, press on with this shit? Like, obviously he has connections to be able to get out of the fucking country and be able to get out of this concentration camp. Like, go to a different country and just live what life you have left alone somewhere, you know? Like,
he is petty.
Yeah, petty as hell. Insane. Yeah. But at this point, Seti has no idea what's happening. She's still doing business. She's nicer to her staff, and they're always a little on edge, and then she does something that's nice, and they're like, oh, wow, okay. But she also is very lonely, and there are scenes of her, like, taking that assistant of hers to, like, the mountain or whatever that they could see from North Korea, and she's, like, trying to see if she sees anyone. She's like, do you see anybody? And he's like, I don't know, I can't tell. And then she just starts crying, and he's like, what's happening? And then we get, like, creepy shots of Chogang creeping on her as a security guard. Like, He very quickly and easily got a fucking job at her company as a security guard. Ugh. It's very, I don't know. I don't like those scenes where you're just seeing, like, random guards just doing their business, and then you see him fucking lurking, like...
he's
ugly.
So creepy.
He is.
He has those crazy eyes.
He definitely does. Yes, very unsettling. And there's a moment where Seti can't sleep. She's sad. She's lonely. She can't stop thinking about Jung-hyuk, and she decides to go outside for a walk. And at that point, I was really nervous because we just saw him. We just saw that guy as a guard, and I thought he was gonna be lurking outside her fucking place. But no, she's walking, and she sees Jung-hyuk there, across the street.
Yay!
And it's kind of just like, am I seeing a ghost sort of moment? Yeah. Like, is this fucking real life? And then the two of them kind of, like, come up to each other and embrace or whatever. But then... We also see, I think in, like, the post-credit, like, right after they show the little, like, flash photo that they always do in K-dramas.
Like, epilogue thing.
Yeah. We see that the little baby soldiers and Monbak have been sent to South Korea to find Jung-hyuk and bring him back. Because Jung-hyuk just fucking went rogue on his own. And the dad found out, and the dad got his, like, closest confidants, the Jung-hyuk's closest confidants, to go and get him and make sure he's safe and bring him home. And so you see these little soldier babies come out of their bus because they're pretending to be fucking, like, Olympic track people or some shit. And it's like, what is it with this track team that, like, everyone poses as a track star?
Yeah, they have to be competitors.
But these guys are, like, first time in South Korea, and it's just, like, super cute to see them getting ready to be in South Korea for the first time. And I don't know. I got very excited when I saw that they were coming. 'Cause, like, yes,
yeah, me too.
Fun shenanigans happening here.
Yes. Because at first it's kind of scary because you just see them being, like, dragged away. And you're like, oh, God, what's happening? And then you realize, like, it's so they can be sent to the South.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you remember, but they meet that guy in, like, the green tracksuit who is, like, supposed to be a North Korean spy or whatever.
Oh, yes.
Apparently, that's from a movie.
Oh, okay.
So that it's like a kind of, like, crossover. Like, that actor played a North Korean spy. I forget the name of the movie. So he's, like, playing the same character.
That character was weird.
In the show. I know.
I didn't know what was happening with that character.
I didn't either. But I just saw stuff about it online, and I was apparently that movie's, like, really good, so I kind of want to watch it. But yeah,
I know,
he's, like, reprising that role.
Interesting. I know that, like, they said he was a North Korean spy, and he said he was a North Korean spy, but he was so weird. And then the way he was just like, here you go, you're gonna take this job now, I'm gonna go, okay, bye. And then the other guy's like, where's my food? And he's like, they have it. And he just, like, runs away. Like, what? What was that?
So weird. Apparently, like, in the movie, the premise is, like, they forgot about him in North Korea. So he's just there waiting to get orders that never come. So
interesting. Yeah. I would watch that. It sounds silly.
Okay. So, episode 11, it's Jung-hyuk's turn to adjust to a new world. Back in North Korea, Don gives Sung-joon a place to stay after he loses his protection. So Seri brings Jung-hyuk home. I think first they go to a little cafe, and she's like, what happened? And he's like, it was no big deal, but it was a big deal. I think she says, like, how'd you make it over so easily if, like, it was so
it
fucking
took so
hard
many
to
chances
get me
for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So we see, like, he had to crawl through a tiny tunnel for, like, 24 hours straight, basically. That's a no for me. And it, like, collapsed on him at some point, but, like, he made it through for Sadie. And so it was not easy. It was very difficult. Oh, one of the other things that the North Korean people said was that they felt like they made it too easy. Like, they depicted defecting being too easy. in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, obviously it's a TV show, but they're
Yeah,
like,
I don't even know how you get out of North Korea.
Apparently,
how does one get out?
So you have to like pay people to like
kind of smuggle you out.
To smuggle you out. But so 2 people that I heard, they like, there's a river that separates North Korea from China.
Mm-hmm.
So they literally have to swim through the river, get to China, and then people in China smuggle them to Thailand. And then from Thailand, they like file for amnesty or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get brought to South Korea.
Wow.
But yeah, like you can't get caught in China too, I guess, because the Chinese government will send you back to North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh my god, yeah, it sounds
terrifying.
Yes. Okay. So he says, Jung-hyuk says he's only there to get Cholgong and like bring him back to North Korea because she's like, did you defect for me? And he's like,
should've.
No. I know. Fuck. Okay. We'll get to that later. And he's like, as soon as I find him, I'm gonna leave. Like, it might be tomorrow. So just heads up. Seti's shitty brother, the second brother, and sister-in-law barge into her place while fucking Seti and Jung-hyuk are just like trying to enjoy their chicken. And she hides him, but he overhears how terrible her family is. Because I think earlier she's like, oh yeah, my family was really happy to see me, like I'm doing well, like don't worry about me. But like he hears that she's not doing well.
Yeah, and her family sucks, or
yeah,
a lot of them suck.
So they threatened Sadie with the knowledge that she was actually in North Korea. They're like, we know you don't have amnesia, you liar. And she was like, wait, are you telling me you knew where I was and you did nothing to bring me home, and you like actively tried to keep me there? Like, that's worse than me being in North Korea.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, so true. Like, why would you give up that knowledge?
And it's not like, again, she went there because she wanted to.
Right.
Like, she was in a fucking weird freak accident and had no way of being able to come home and had to go through all this fucking bullshit and like near-death experiences trying to get home. So
stupid. Like, those 2 are like dumb. Like the wife is like a little bit smarter, but they think they're smart. But they just make dumb mistakes. They're not like the first brother and wife where they're like actually like they can recognize their shortcomings to a certain extent. But anyway, so So shit hits the fan in North Korea as all of Cholgong's old partners are like sent to prison, including the colonel. Because basically anyone that like took bribes or whatever, anyone related to Cholgong gets sent to prison. So, you know, the village is in an uproar, blah, blah, blah. We get a nice little shopping montage as Seti buys stuff for Jung-hyuk. And she basically tells everyone that he's her bodyguard so he can stay by her. She's like, well, if Cholgong's going after me, then you need to be with me because you'll probably find him that way. But they basically just get to hang out. And I love the like shop lady being like, oh my god, it looks perfect on you.
She's getting all jealous.
Every suit, Oh, so the babies end up staying at a sauna because they're like, I don't know where to stay, and they don't have a ton of money. I guess they didn't take that job. But they're like actively enjoying South Korea, and they love being at the sauna. Even
the older one that like talks shit about South Korea is like secretly loving it.
Yes. So I think at the end of last episode, he's like, I think they turn on, like, they must have known we were coming. They turn on all the lights.
Yes.
Apparently, that's a thing that they do in North Korea. Like, if they get visitors, they'll, like, turn on, like, all of the lights in Pyongyang.
Wow.
But then after people leave, they turn them off.
Interesting.
I know. So, like, that was weird. One of the things. I know. Because they want to make it seem like they have electricity.
Yeah, and that, like, everything's, like, cool and normal and nothing to see here.
Yes. So they end up finding Sadie's office, but they can't get in because they're, like, they don't have an appointment and they don't know how to, like, interact with the, like, security guards. And it's just, like, really awkward, so they run away. Sung-joon and Sodan help each other out. Blah, blah, blah. I kind of glaze over their storylines because it's essentially them just, like, meeting up.
Hanging out and getting drunk. Hanging out. Eating food.
Learning more about each other. Blah, blah, blah. Sadie's older brother, other brother, and older brother, and his wife tell his mom about the second brother knowing Sadie was in North Korea, and she's like, fuck. Y'all suck.
She's not happy.
No. Cholgong finds Sadie alone and chases her through the parking garage. This was so scary. Oh, because earlier Jung-hyuk, like, knocks on the top of the car, and he's like, you have to knock, so if there are any animals hiding, they'll come out. So Sadie does it. Oh, but earlier a little kitten runs out, which is cute. But Sadie does it, and she sees fucking Cholgong in the back of her car. Ugh! So scary.
Trying to be, like, not seen.
Trying to hide.
With his fucking cap.
Ugh. Yeah, so scary. So yeah, he's kind of chasing her, and Jung-hyuk is off. He gets, like, lured into a trap, but he ends up, like, fighting all these dudes. Then Cholgong calls him with Sadie's phone and lures him into another trap, and he, like, has a gun on Jung-hyuk, but then Sadie, like, turns out the lights and is like, it's a trap.
And he actually does have good hearing and good sense of direction, and he's able to, like, save the day, basically.
Yes.
All right, so it leads us into episode 12. Hoping to meet Jung-hyuk, his comrades attend an event hosted by Sadie's company. Sung-joon opens up to Dan over a bowl of rice porridge. So Sadie and Jung-hyuk manage to escape Cholgong, but he always seems to get away. Of course, he just, like, fucking disappears. Sadie calls a doctor for a house visit to mend Jung-hyuk's knife wound, but the doctor tells her fucking shitty brother that he, like, helped some dude at her house.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck kind of doctor are you?
What about patient confidentiality, sir?
Shitty, man. So, Sadie vows to use all of her resources to get back for what happened to Jung-hyuk. And she basically tells him, like, you know what? I'm not in North Korea anymore. Like, this is my fucking turf. And I can protect myself, too. And I can handle this guy. Like, I have my own way to handle things. And Egon is like, he ate his food. He fucking probably pooped, ran around the house. And now he's at the door being annoying. What kind of a cat is that? It's not a normal cat.
Oh, he stopped. No.
No, he's not going to stop. All right, so I'm going to try to read this in a way to where I can get through it without him being too noisy. Okay. So we see that Sadie is actually, like, super badass, and she uses these shady dudes in the neighborhood where Jung-hyuk was attacked to get info on Cholgong, and she's like, find this fucking guy. And I will pay, I forgot what it was that she would pay for them for, like, a year or something. Some, rent or some
apartment.
Shit. Yeah.
So she's like, I'll let you live rent-free if you give me...
And they're like, seriously? And she's like, yes. You won't have to worry about anything. Just fucking find this asshole. And that's when she's wearing that amazing fucking coat that Andrew said looks like it was dipped in chocolate. It's like half like pleather on top and then half like trench sort of. I don't really fucking know. But it's cool as hell. And... Don't buy it yet, y'all, because I haven't gotten it yet. But it's on Fashion Chingu. And when I get paid, end of this month, I'm buying it. Fucking $98 later, I'm going to buy it. Because it's so cool. And I love cool. Me a cool jacket.
Yes.
All right, so she's being super cool and like owning shit. And then Seri gives her life insurance guy a job since he was super loyal to her, and she saw like the video footage of him like pleading with people to like find her, and he knew she was alive, and he really pushed for it.
So sweet.
And it's just perfect timing because he had just gotten fired too. And he has like a family, and he was all sad and depressed, and she was like, I'll pay you like 3 times what you're making currently. And he's like, well, actually, I just got fired. She's like, okay, well, good. Like, you're working with me now. He's super sweet.
Yes.
Seti makes Jung-hyuk stay home until his wound heals. And he opens up a special message system and learns about Chogang's network in South Korea. And like, I don't know how the fuck he got into this stuff.
I don't know.
It's just him like being on computers, basically. And then there's a little moment of him playing video games, and his name was Tomato Cultivator, I think.
Yeah.
And then it ends up being that he's fighting with one of the soldier babies. I forgot which one.
The youngest baby.
And I don't remember what his name was, his screen name. It was also something silly.
Yeah.
But the little soldier baby ends up beating Jung-hyuk, and they get into this conversation, and the little guy's like, we should meet and fight then. Meet in person and fight. And he like actually waits for him outside, and Jung-hyuk never shows. And he like later on is talking shit about like how this thing happened, and he waited, and this fucking loser never came. So good.
Yeah. Oh, apparently one of like the North Korean people in those YouTube videos said that like people fight a lot in North Korea because like there aren't really cops to like stop them, so people just fight. And like apparently not a lot, but sometimes like North Korean people get in trouble in South Korea because they're just like so used to fighting people. And they're like, you can't
like second
do that.
nature.
So after learning about that, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like he was
ready to go. That's funny.
I'll fight you. Yeah.
Okay, so the soldier babies recap their attempts to find Seti and Jung-hyuk, and then we see how close they actually were to meeting them on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
And it just didn't go through. My favorite was when the older soldier baby ends up working at the chicken place because he knew that Seti talked a lot about eating like meat 3 times a week, or I forgot what the fuck she said, like two meals a day was like meat. And he's like, eventually I think she'll order chicken. And he like starts to work there, and the phone is ringing, but he's like busy eating, so he doesn't answer. But it's Jung-hyuk calling for an order, so he fucking misses the call.
Yeah.
So funny. A misconnection. All right, so Soda and Sungjung, they spend more time together at her apartment, and then Seti and Jung-hyuk drink together, and after they both get drunk, he reveals that he wants to stay in the South with her and get married and have a family, and it's like, well then fucking stay, buddy. You're already there. Who's gonna fucking come and get you? Who's gonna come into South Korea? Fucking stay there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks.
It's upsetting. It like hurts.
It really is. Because that's like the first moment. It's the first moment where he says something like that about wanting to like be with her forever, and you're like, okay, well then like let's make it happen. Let's figure it out. Because you're from a fucking powerful family, and she's got a lot of money. So let's figure it out. But then they don't talk about it again, and it kind of sucks. But Seti and Jung-hyuk go to a store opening, one of her store openings, and they have a little moment with the watch. I think she sees him wearing it, and she's like, hey, I fucking got that for you.
And he's like, you saved me.
Yeah. I don't think
he keep saving each other.
Yeah, I don't think he tells her, like, it was my brother's, which was kind of a big deal. I would have told her immediately. Like, look, you found this, and it was my dead brother's.
Yeah, I think he just tells her, like, it was really important or something like that.
Yeah.
It was my dead brother's.
It was my dead brother's, and he found it. So the soldier babies go to the opening, and they're trying to find her, but they can't get to her, and they start to panic and run away. And one of them, like, falls asleep in a bed, and he leaves his shoes behind. And security's chasing him, but then they find out, like, the guy was only chasing him because he left his shoes behind. It wasn't, like, to question them or anything, but they, like, flipped out and they ran away. And when they're running and, like, falling all over the place, Jung-hyuk sees them, and he's like, what the fuck? Is that who I think it is? And then all of them are, like, sitting outside, upset, because they still can't fucking get to these people, and they almost got caught, they got chased, and then suddenly...
And the baby lost his shoes.
The little baby lost his shoes, and then Jung-hyuk comes to the rescue and hands him his shoes and puts them on him like a little baby. And everyone's just, like, in awe, like, oh my god, we found him. And
they hug.
Yeah, it's so really sweet. It's a good reunion. So Seti's older brother approaches her and offers to help her bring down the other brother if she'll give up the chairman position to him. Seti doesn't commit either way, but tells her brother to keep looking into the other brother's manager and dealings.
Yeah, he's like, is she telling me what to do? And his wife is like, let's do it.
Just do it.
It's fine.
Who cares? Let's be on the good side here, the right side.
Yeah.
The side that's actually going to get you somewhere. So Seti meets up with Jung-hyuk and the baby soldiers, and she brings them back to her place. And they're just, like, in awe of where she lives. And they're kind of just like, holy shit, she wasn't lying. She does have a lot of money. What is this fucking place?
I would be too. It's insane.
It's fucking beautiful. And then side story happens. The village ladies are banding together to help the colonel's wife, who, like, got in trouble and all this crazy shit. I don't fucking really pay attention to that part.
Yeah, they're just, like, being nice ladies.
Yeah, there's just shit happening right now. It's heavy. Seti overhears Manbak telling Jung-hyuk about their deadline, and they need to bring him home by this certain time. Like, the bus is gonna leave, and she feels really bad. And then her mom tells her dad about the second brother keeping Seti in North Korea. And the mom tries to reach out to Seti to help her, but Seti is suspicious and doesn't believe her. Because, again, they've had some drama in the past.
Yeah, so her mom was a shithead, basically.
Yeah.
Because it's not her biological mom.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Interesting stuff happens. So the shitty couple, the brother and sister-in-law, meet with manager Oh in Cholgang. And Seti comes home to a seemingly empty house, and she starts to sob. She thinks that Jung-hyuk and everyone has left her, and she's very, very sad, and she's just, like, crying by herself. And then Jung-hyuk and the boys come out with party hats and gifts and a birthday cake as a surprise, because, surprise, it's her birthday. And Seti runs out, and Jung-hyuk goes to follow her, and everyone's like, I thought this is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I thought this was supposed to be a good idea.
They get mad at, like, the drama-loving baby. They're like, you said this was a thing. You said to be happy.
So she's really embarrassed, and he says nice things. He gives her a hug. And then in the epilogue, it shows another example of them being fated for each other. And end of episode, basically.
Yeah. I thought, like, I forget which one is just holding, like, I think it's like a little stuffed animal penguin, and they're just like, what the fuck? Because she's like, you know,
sobbing,
she's, like, calling out for him.
Yeah.
And, like, she's like, I'm so alone, blah, blah, blah. Like, she's emptying her heart out.
Embarrassing. Like, to do that not knowing that there are, like, I don't know, like, half a dozen soldier dudes that you know, but you don't, like, really know them either. And then the guy that you're in love with overheard everything too. Like, ugh.
And she kept downplaying, like, I'll be fine when you leave. I'll be fine when you leave. And we'll kind of get into it in the next episode. But also, frickin' Cholgang being like, maybe this is in the next episode. I wrote these notes so I wouldn't say that anymore. But just them meeting up with Cholgang was, like, a big twist to me.
Yeah. Like, really fucked up.
That's not good.
Assholes.
Yeah. Okay. Episode 13, Seti sends the comrades on a shopping spree and plays hooky from work with Jung-hyuk. Jung Man-bok encounters a dilemma. That's an understatement. A dilemma. So yeah, Jung-hyuk continues to comfort Seti, and he's like, you'll have good birthdays, blah, blah, blah. They eventually go back to the apartment and enjoy a little party with the babies. Because he's like, are you going to cry like that when I actually leave?
Yes,
and she's
of course.
like, no.
Of course she is.
Yeah. But I think also it's because, like, he kept telling her, I might have to leave without saying goodbye to you.
Yeah, and so that's what she thought happened. Yeah.
I guess that, like, reality set in, finally, with that. So, blah, blah, blah. They have a cute little party. Jung-hyuk gives Seti couple rings for her birthday, which was really cute. He looked so nervous while he was, like, giving them. And she, like, takes the ring from him. And she's like, oh, it fits on my thumb. Thanks. And he's like, that one's mine. And I was like, So, yeah, I think I started well, like I said, I cried in like a lot of these episodes, but when Sadie was crying, I was like, ugh.
Oh my god.
And then when he gives her the couples rings, I just started crying again because I knew they can't be together. Or I kept thinking like, it's not gonna end well. Anyway. So Sodan's mom finds Dan and Sungjun in the apartment. She's like, what are y'all doing here? Because I think Sodan is, like, hungover. She comes looking for her. And Sungjun, of course, is very charming. And Sodan's mom is like, he could be better than Junghyuk. Like, I like Sodan's mom because she just wants Sodan to be happy.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. And she's, like, kind of crazy. So, Junghyuk finds manager O, and he's like, tell me what you know. It's very intense. Seti tells Man-bok that they have to make sure Junghyuk goes back to the north safely. So she's like, you know, I know he has his things going on, but, like, I don't want him... I want to help you make sure he goes back.
Yeah.
Basically. I'm not going to hold him back. The shitty sister... Oh, no, wait. I skipped a part. Sadie gives the babies her black card so they can go on a shopping spree, and they just buy like kind of dumb things, but it's really sweet. Like they go to like kind of cheap like street level shops,
like they get silly hats and things.
I think the youngest boy, like, he buys like a school uniform.
He does from some like street musician.
Yeah, like, it's just, like, sad. Like, he just wants to have a normal life, because he's, like, 17, I think.
Yeah.
Like, he's actually a baby, in his little hat. And then, like, the handsome one looks, like, cool in the ripped jeans, because they're, like, see, they think they're rich, but they're selling ripped jeans, or whatever. Oh, also, in an earlier episode, where they're, like, trying to figure out where Sadie is, and he's like, I kept getting stopped. I think people know, like, because they kept saying, you're the one we're looking for, and they're like all these cards for different agencies, like, trying to scout him.
They're like, what do these mean?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So the shitty sister-in-law tries to take Sadie's position again. And, like, how is she calling all of these meetings? Like, what authority does she have?
Why are people listening to her?
I got why, you know, when they thought Sadie was dead, I was like, okay, that makes sense. But why are y'all meeting this time? But thankfully, Sadie's mom steps in, and she's like, cut it out. Like, I know you suck, so stop it. Then we get more cute scenes of Jung-hyuk and Sadie being together. They're just, like the synopsis said, they're playing hooky. I don't know what they do. I don't remember. But they're adorable. They eventually meet up with the babies watching a soccer match and eating chicken. And they're just, like, having a great time. But then Man-bok goes out to smoke. Smoking is bad. If he hadn't gone out to smoke,
Maybe
Cholgong
this
wouldn't
wouldn't
have
have
confronted him. So yeah, Cholgong confronts him and threatens him and being like, I found you here. I can find your family in the north. Like, you're screwed. You have to do what I say, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
He, like, shows him a photo of his kid.
Uh-huh. Also, like, it was kind of nice because I feel like Manbok felt, like, relieved that, well, I mean, obviously he knew, like, Cholgong was there because, like, that's the whole point. But, like, I feel like he seemed more confident, like, being with the other soldier guys. And he just immediately reverted back to, like,
being scared.
Okay, so the village ladies find Sung-joon in Dan's apartment, and there's, like, you know, more drama with that, blah, blah, blah. But then Dan learns that Jung-hyuk is in South Korea to save Sadie. So, like, at first she was already kind of pissed that, like, Jung-hyuk delayed their wedding so he could help Sadie cross to the South. But she, like, it's just, like, the last straw when she finds out that he actually, like, crossed the border to save her. Sadie arranges a meeting with the drama-loving baby and his favorite actress, which was just adorable. I don't recognize that actress, but I think, I mean, obviously she's a little older, so she's kind of in, like, the older dramas that he loved watching illegally. The shitty couple meets with the dad, and he gets after them and basically disowns his son and, like, fires him, like, get out of here. I know what you did to Sadie, like, you're not my family anymore. But then the fucking sister-in-law is like, well, we don't know that she wasn't involved with Sejun, like, conning the brother, because there's evidence that she and Sejun met up in North Korea. She's like, maybe Sadie was working against us the whole time. And the dad was like, if you're fucking lying again, like, this is it. Like, I'm actually done with you. And of course they're lying again. But he tells the brother, like, call Sadie here. Like, let's get to the bottom of this. So the brother calls her to lure her to the house, but she's attacked on the way as we see Manbok giving intel to Cholgong. Like, she left the house. Jung-hyuk goes to meet Cholgong and is ambushed by a bunch of, like, I don't know, street gang people. But the baby soldiers show up in their suits that Sadie bought them, because she's like, y'all just bought stupid stuff with my with my card. Like, I'm buying you actual nice things.
Isn't it shitty, though, that they don't even, like, take any of that with them?
I know.
Like, they don't leave with any fucking suitcases or anything.
I know. It's like, yeah, it's not like they'd be able to keep that once they get back.
Yeah,
it's really sad. So we get a little flashback and see that Manbok told Jung-hyuk about Cholgong. Oh, because after the birthday party, Jung-hyuk realizes that the, like, tiny baby was the guy he was fighting with online. So he, like, kind of storms out, or is, like, trying to keep cool, and then he sees Manbok, like, crying. And then we realize that, like, Manbok did the right thing and, like, opened up to Jung-hyuk, and they, like, devised a little plan. Okay, so back in present day, Jung-hyuk and Cholgong, like, leave the main fight area, and they're, like, having a shootout. Sadie sees that Cholgong is about to shoot Jung-hyuk, so she drives in front and takes the bullet for Jung-hyuk. Everyone stands around and cries for Sadie, and Cholgong gets away, but he's wounded. Like, fucking Jung-hyuk shot him. So
what bothered me with that is, one, like, people took for fucking ever, apparently, to call an ambulance. Because everyone was just standing around her crying, not doing anything, not trying to stop the bleeding. They just, like, hugged her and cried and did fucking nothing. And two, how did that bullet shoot her where it shot her when, like, it blew through the window But it somehow hit her, like, I don't know, like in her rib area or something. Like, it wasn't her head or anything that it hit her.
I know.
It was like a fucking JFK magic bullet that, like, flew in all kinds of weird directions. And that just, like, really fucking bothered me. Because I felt like where that asshole was standing and where he shot towards, like, it would have gone in a fucking angle or something. Like, it made no sense to me. I was very annoyed that she got shot. And then I thought she was going to have a fucking amnesia moment when she woke up. Because I thought about how you say that everyone has a fucking amnesia moment. I was like, God, no. This is going to suck. Thankfully, she doesn't.
Right.
But it was just like, there's a lot of stuff that happens in these next episodes because of her fucking bullet wound that just never fully made sense to me as to, like, how it hit her, where it hit her. Like, I shouldn't think too much about it, but I did. And I do. It just bothered me.
Yeah, I kind of let that go. Later on, their arrangement bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about it for, like, ever since I finished the drama, so I guess we can compare our
the things that bother us.
Yes.
Alright, so episode 14. While Jung-hyuk keeps watch over Seri, his comrades make themselves useful. Sung-joon can't stop worrying about Dan. So Seri is in a coma, and the government starts to investigate what happened with Seri and if it could be tied to what happened in North Korea, because they know that 2 people came in from North Korea through that tunnel, and they knew that one of them was Chogang, and then there was another person. So they're, like, trying to figure out, what is happening. And they want to talk to Jung-hyuk because he was the other person there. They want to know who the fuck he is. He doesn't have actual paperwork because he's from North Korea.
Yeah, I think he just has, like, a Chinese passport.
Yes,
so he's, like, fake being Chinese, but it's, like, shady.
Yeah, like, there's obviously something up. Yeah. So Chogang is barely alive. He gets treated by a shady doctor. And Jung-hyuk even says, like, have you checked, like, shady doctors? Basically. Because this guy is...
He got shot.
This guy's from North Korea. He can't go to an actual hospital. Check out those places and try to find him. Yeah. And they're like, oh, good idea. So then we cut to the village ladies. They're having a party to celebrate the colonel coming home. And Don's mother shows up. And the village head gets drunk and spills all the tea of what's been happening. She also gives them gifts, and it ends up being Seti's Choice products, skincare products, and it has portraits of all of them. And they're like,
oh, that's later.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
I thought it was in this one where she came to
I think she just gives them, like, cosmetics. But
maybe.
I think it's in episode 16 when they're, like, wrapping everything
up. Maybe. Okay, well, I'll cut ahead then. Since I already started talking about it. It's got all their little portraits on it, and they're like...
It's really sweet.
Yeah, they, like, start crying, and they're like, oh my god, she did make it. She is safe. And the portraits are really good. I don't know how she remembered all their exact fucking details to be able to get portraits of them done like that, but whatever. So Seti eventually wakes up, and Monbuk tells her he bugged her room, and it, like, plays a montage of all of them listening in and, like, crying and being upset that she hasn't woken up and talking shit about her brother and stuff. And he gives her recordings of her brother and sister-in-law being shitty and basically, like, wanting her to die, essentially. And then also, like, moments of her mom being really nice. We cut to Sodan and Sung-joon meeting up again. Finally, they kiss, but he's even more on the run now. Seti and Jung-hyuk are caught hugging by the paparazzi, and this is, like, when she's in the hospital room. He's, like, helping her up, and like, the photos are, like, really shitty and, like, not even that great, but everyone freaks out about who she's hugging because we can't see who he is. And he's, like, trying to be all tough and show her all the different scars that he's gotten in life. And she's like, oh my god, that looks like it hurts so much. He's like, oh, I got this one on my back too. And he's showing all these random scars.
And the, like, little babies come in, they're like,
what's happening? Oh yeah, because his shirt's like basically off. I'm like, what is happening? And she's like, I didn't do that. And he's like, I didn't do this. So stupid. So Seti outs her shitty brother and sister-in-law for collaborating with Cholgang. And as a last-ditch effort, the sister-in-law tells the authorities that Jung-hyuk is also from North Korea. Because she just fucking sucks. So, like, of course she would tell them that. Jung-hyuk's dad keeps his nemesis at bay. But it's starting to get, like, really dicey because Jung-hyuk hasn't come home yet. Doesn't really have an answer what's happening. Jung-hyuk gets to confront Cholgang again, but they get surrounded by the Korean SWAT team. And in the epilogue, we see Jung-hyuk prepare a bunch of things for Seti in case he can't see her again. And he's, like, getting a bunch of food stuff and, like, everything looks really good. But I was also like, how long is she still going to be in the hospital for? Because I feel like as soon as I get produce, it's freaking, like, bad 2 days later. And then I'm, like, upset that I bought it.
Yep, me too.
Never, that always happens. Never fails.
I know. Yeah, I was like, I get, like, getting the rice and the, like, seaweed.
The packaged items and the things that won't expire so quickly.
The dry goods. Yeah. But yeah, getting her all that, like, cabbage and whatever. Like,
I mean, everything looked amazing, though.
Yeah. I'm like, can you just stay and be, like, a beautiful house husband while your wife, like, you know, rules the world and y'all are amazing looking? I don't know. Just make her noodles all the time. Okay. Episode 15. South Korean officials try to figure out what's going on, but they're given conflicting stories. Sung-joon flees from his captors. Okay, so Cholgang, like, at the end of episode 14, like, Cholgang and Jung-hyuk are, like, in that shady building. The SWAT team is there, but, like, they have guns pulled on each other, basically. And Cholgang tries to shoot Jung-hyuk, but he instead gets shot by the SWAT team because they're like, drop your weapons, or whatever. And then Jung-hyuk gets taken into custody, but before Cholgang dies, he's like, your family's fucked. Like, he basically lies to Jung-hyuk, saying that, like, your dad, you know, everyone in North Korea knows what happened, like, blah, blah, blah. So Jung-hyuk is, like, freaking out at this point, basically. The village ladies save Manbok's wife and kid. I loved that scene where the colonel's wife is like, give my regards to so-and-so. And they're like, okay. And she's like, so and whatever the name was, like, he's my brother. You're not part of the State Department. And they, like, whatever, push them away with, like, shovels and stuff. It's so funny. Okay, so the rest of the baby soldiers are also brought into custody. Oh, this is so upsetting.
Yeah.
Seri is also very upset by it. And she basically, like, makes herself sick again. Like, they're like, you cannot be out of bed. Like, get back. So the babies actually have a decent time in custody. Even though, like, on the way there, they're, like, kind of panicking. They're like, we're going to be tortured.
They were thinking of home.
Good. Yeah, pretty much. They're like, our fingernails are going to be ripped out. It's going to be terrible. But they, like, get food. And they, you know, it's not great, but it's not terrible.
Yeah.
And so, but then we see Jung-hyuk is, like, again, freaking out. He refuses to eat or talk to anyone, but eventually he makes up a story about how he was trying to bring Seri back to North Korea. That, like, because I guess if the word got back to North Korea, he wanted to, like, have that story ready for his family, basically. And he wanted to protect Seri, basically saying that she wasn't involved in any of it. It was, like, kind of covering all his bases.
And it was like, I want to bring her back because she has a lot of money and can help North Korea.
Yeah.
Monetarily.
Okay, so Seri contradicts Jung-hyuk's story, and the officials start to investigate, like, the whole situation more. They look into, like, the little soldier babies and just the general, like, goings on, like, what happened. Because they don't really believe Jung-hyuk. Like, they believe Sadie more. I said, LOL, at the office was just watching clips of Jung-hyuk being a sweetie and the soldier babies just buying snacks. Because they're, like, in that, like, briefing room, and they're like, okay, what do you have?
I'm trying to study them.
And they're like, he was just, like, being nice, basically, holding doors open for people.
They used her black card, and they bought random things. And noodles.
Yeah. They went to this store, they bought tteokbokki, then they got went chicken to this restaurant. Okay, then I said, honestly, fuck Sadie's second brother and his wife. They continue to do shady shit. I think this involves Sungjun, where they're like, bring Sungjun back. Or like, they're doing something with Sungjun. I don't know if they're trying to bring him back or kill him, so he can't, like, corroborate Sadie's story or whatever. Okay, so Jung-hyuk and Sadie have a face-to-face meeting in the interrogation room because they're like, y'all stories are conflicting, like, you need to have a face-to-face meeting so we can figure out what's actually happening. Jung-hyuk is really cold and insists that he doesn't have feelings for her and he was just doing a job, and Sadie is, like, upset, but she kind of knows what's happening, but it was, like, a big journey for her. She's, like, still recovering, and she collapses after leaving the interrogation room, and Jung-hyuk gets all upset, and the agent is like, if you were gonna get upset, why were you so mean to her? Like, I love that agent guy.
Yeah, he was like, you didn't have to be that mean to her. You made her collapse.
And he's like, what?
He's like, why were you so mean?
I love how the whole time he's like, why are y'all being so difficult? Like, just
tell us the truth, please.
So Sungjun and Dang go through more back and forth stuff. He ends up finding her again and tells her he wants to meet up with her when he's in a better spot in life. And he gives her the ring that he gave to Sadie and basically, like, kind of proposes to her. Dan is kidnapped, though, after Sungjun. Like, they go to the airport together. Sungjun leaves, or, like, gets off the taxi. And then Dan gets kidnapped, and he has to decide whether or not he wants to, like, go through with his plan to flee North Korea or save Sodan, and he ends up going to Sodan, but then he gets shot. So not great. The investigator agent guy tells Jung-hyuk that Sadie is in critical condition now, and they let him go to the hospital so he can be with her. The epilogue is really cute. It just is, again, that, like, briefing room or whatever, and they, like, bring in like, a body language expert, and they're like, you can see through all these clips, like, he mimics her actions and, like, turns his body towards her, like, so we think he might have feelings for her. And the agent is like, obviously, like,
why are we going over this?
Yeah, so that's episode
all right
15.
Last episode. So before departing, Jung-hyuk leaves behind a surprise that keeps on giving. Dawn delivers bittersweet justice. So Sungjun dies and Sadie pulls through. All right. Sungjun dying is actually really sad, and she's like in the like hospital truck thing with him. Yeah, the ambulance. Yeah. Hospital truck. What the fuck? It's almost 11, guys. I'm sleepy.
It's okay.
Yeah, he dies in the hospital truck. And it's really kind of fucked up because, like, she's, like, crying and he's dying, and the guy, the paramedic, is just sitting there watching, and he's just like, ooh, he's dead. Like,
can't you do something?
He doesn't even try to do anything. And I don't know if it's because he's, like, Sungjun wasn't, like, North Korean or anything, and, like, I don't know, he's a fugitive, basically. I don't know. But they didn't do shit.
Yeah.
And that was sad. Yes. Junghyuk's dad arranges for Junghyuk and the soldier babies to be sent back to the north in exchange for prisoners from the south. And so essentially what happened was they missed the bus, basically, with the track team. And the guy called and he's like, yo, they're not here. I'll see him. We gotta go. So this is plan B. So we're going to give you prisoners we have from the south. You give us our soldier babies and my son back.
Yeah, because he knows that they are in custody now.
Yes. So Seti wakes up and her mom tells her that Junghyuk being sent to the north. And at first she tries to put on a brave face and say that's good. But then after her mom tells her how Junghyuk stayed by her side the whole time, she was in a coma until she finally woke up or whatever, or she was sick. And so she decides to go see him one last time. So the mom like calls that agent to be like, hey, we're coming. Is that okay? And he's like, we're about to be there soon. Like, fucking hurry, but sure, okay. Which is really nice of him.
I know.
And so the main agent is a little bit worried for Junghyuk, and he agrees, like, we'll let this happen right before the exchange. But then
obviously they love each other.
Yeah, so I guess he wants to do this. And it's kind of like pressing because they're standing there, they're not doing anything, and then the North Korean people are like, okay, let's go. And the South Korean guy is like, we still have a couple of minutes, let's wait until right on the dot to just make it correct. And the guy's like, we're fucking here now, like, let's do it. And he's like, he can't do anything else at that point. He's like, okay, I guess. And so Seti and her mom make it to the meeting point right as they're crossing, and they run to each other, and it's very dramatic. Guns get drawn. Everyone's like kind of freaked out. The little soldier babies are like scared as hell.
Yeah. Because Junghyuk like crosses back to the south, and he's like, stop running. Yeah. It gets very intense very quickly. Yeah. I was afraid someone was going to get shot again. I know. Like, oh my god.
Junghyuk finally gets to say, I love you, and he's pulled back to the north side. The babies almost die as Chogung's main guy pulls a gun on them. It's fucked up because, like, they take them, and he's telling her, like, everything's going to be okay. Like, it's fine. And then they go, and suddenly they get pulled over somewhere. They just stop, and they get him out of the truck, and they're about to shoot them in the fucking middle of nowhere. Yeah. But thankfully, Junghyuk's dad comes in, and he's like, normally, like, we'd have a fucking trial, but seeing as you just tried to kill my son, and I saw you, like, you're fucking guilty. And he fucking shoots that guy, like, no questions asked. Yeah, it was intense. Yeah. You go, Dad. Sodan, at this point, is very depressed, but she vows to get revenge on Seti's brother, as he is the one who fucked over Sung-joon, and he, like, caused all of this. The agent meets with Seti and her family, and they review that Seti will only get a fine for her actions, but they have received intel from North Korea that shows the shitty couple were involved in kidnapping, solicitation of murder, and, like, a whole bunch of other shit. Very intense. Yes. Seti goes home and sees everything Junghyuk prepared for her, and she gets, like, sad about it, and also, like, kind of just, like, is in love with everything that he did and how sweet it was. And then she starts to receive scheduled texts from him, like, every day, basically. Yeah. And the texts are basically, like, the plot of P.S. I Love You. I've never seen that movie. But yeah.
So in P.S. I Love You, it's letters.
Okay. Text. Never seen it. But yeah, it's like telling her random stuff, like, oh, it's this holiday. It's this day. You should do this. Don't forget to do this. Blah, blah, blah. And then the little soldier babies are back in North Korea, but they miss the South. And what I didn't like about that is when they were being interrogated, they were just asked straight up, like, hey, you want to stay? Just stay. Yes. What? It couldn't have been any easy for you. You came on a fucking track bus. Yeah. And, like, you have the opportunity to live this wonderful life now. And I understand why they wouldn't do it. because they have, like, family in the north and stuff, and, like, their lives are in the north, but also, like, I can't imagine being in North Korea, growing up there, and then going to the south and seeing, like, how different things could be, and just, like, how wonderful it is to have electricity.
Yeah. And running water.
Yeah. And just
being able to wear whatever you want.
Yeah. And then also in their case, like, they got a fucking sugar mama. It's like ready to, like, help them out in any way possible. Like, that's a fucking best case scenario, honestly.
Yeah.
It was just sad that, like, none of them stayed. I was hoping one of them would be like, I'll stay.
I know, the drama baby.
Yeah, the drama baby, or, like, the youngest one.
Yeah, well, I felt like the youngest one wouldn't, because they kept mentioning how
his family
he was the
and
only
stuff.
man in the family. Like, his dad was dead, and so he had to take care of his mom and sisters or whatever. But I was like, or the handsome baby. He could be scouted and become a freaking model or whatever.
Yeah, or a new idol.
Exactly.
None of them did it, though. They all went back.
Now they're sad.
Yep. And then we get to the scene where Sodan's mom gives the village ladies the city's choice line of products for them. And then her mom formally breaks off the engagement between Sodan and Jung-hyuk to his mother. And it's really sad, because she's saying, like, she fell in love with somebody else and I want her to be happy. But she's, like, on the verge of tears because, like, she knows that he fucking died. Yes, and it's just so sad. Like, oh my God, this poor mother. She just wants the best for her daughter. So time goes on. We get a lot of text. And then we find out on her birthday that that's going to be the last one, because he could only do a year's worth, blah, blah, blah. And then he hints at being able to possibly meet in Switzerland one day. So she keeps traveling there with, like, a music organization thing that she helped put together, in the hopes of meeting him. And Jung-hyuk tells the village lady that he's been discharged and will now play piano again for the National Symphony, which is fucking cool, okay? Taking his place as the older soldier baby. And all of the women are kind of, like, grossed out. They're, like, unimpressed that he's going to be taking over, and it's kind of sad, but he's, like, he doesn't even see that. He's just, like, super proud of himself, and he's like, I hear that you bring lots of good food, and there's always food here, and you prepare good things. And they're like, well, we don't really do that. They're, like, trying to downplay everything they do.
Yeah, and they were like, oh, like, the handsome one. They're like, will it be you? Are you the new captain?
So silly.
Yeah.
All right, and then Seti and Jung-hyuk finally meet again after she lands paragliding in Switzerland. And then in the epilogue, we see everyone in North Korea settling down. Sodan stays single, and we see Jung-hyuk and Seti meet up in Switzerland for their annual 2-week vacation. And that's, like, basically it.
Yeah, I mean, the last shots are beautiful. They're, like, just in the most picturesque little cottage in Switzerland. But I don't like that they're not together the whole time.
Yeah, that's one long distance relationship. Because they can't even, like, chat.
No.
They have, like, no communication with each other. Unless he fucking gets her phone and leaves her random texts for another year or whatever. Which just seems like, I don't know, like, after a while, you can't respond back or anything. It just sucks.
Yeah, and, like, I feel like they can't really, like, have a family. I mean, obviously, like, they could, but, like, given her position, I feel like people would question that.
Yeah.
Like, she's just pregnant out of nowhere. I mean, I guess you could make up a story, like, that she just wanted to be a single mom. But I don't know. It's just, like, not very satisfying.
I just wish she would have stayed.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like his parents didn't know where he was. Like the other guys. His parents knew where he was. His parents knew he was in love with her. I don't know.
Yeah. I thought what was gonna happen, because like after he comes home, his mom is like all happy, but I think she kind of sees that like he's depressed about it, and I was thinking like, fucking just put Jung-hyuk in Division 11 or whatever, and like send his ass back, and then he can come back every now and then.
Yeah.
Give fake reports, blah blah blah. And then, but like they can live their life. Because they kept bringing up Division 11 as like an option, and then we see that Division 11 guy,
that weirdo
running around, so
who was just forgotten apparently. So he could have just been forgotten.
Yeah,
I didn't like the Switzerland thing, unless they were like both gonna just like move to Switzerland and stay there. But
that's not happening.
No, it's not happening. And it was just like really long. It was a really long episode with the texting. And just like a lot of montages of her like doing work things and getting texts and eating food with people and getting texts and doing this and getting texts. And they were never together until the very, very end, but then they're not even really together.
Yeah. They're like, enjoy your 2-week vacation as usual. And I'm like, ugh. And how come he gets to leave for 2 weeks every year? Like, if he can do that, then he should be able to leave more often. Like, it would be one thing if they got to meet up like once a month or something.
Yeah.
In Switzerland, it still wouldn't be ideal, but like 2 weeks
out of a year.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I just kept thinking about it. I was like, I'm not happy.
Yeah, not ideal.
I mean, I really liked the drama overall. Like, I'd probably give it like a 9 out of 10. Or I don't know, maybe like a 9.5. Basically everything right up until the end was so good. And then I'm like, why are y'all doing this to me? Like, if anything, I don't know. I probably would have been pissed off if they just ended it with him going back to North Korea. But, like, don't tease me with showing me how beautiful they look in Switzerland together, but then I know that they're going to have to go back.
Yeah.
Normal lives and whatever. So, yeah, my rewrite is putting Jung-hyuk in Division 11 so he can...
I like that.
Also, I'm like, his parents... Okay, no offense. His parents are fucking old. Like, I mean, all that's to say is, like, it's not like...
The young boy where he's having to, like, take care of his family or whatever.
Yeah, like, his parents are well off, and they're probably not going to be around for, like,
maybe that's what he's waiting for.
Oh,
maybe he wants to, like, be home and, like, support them and keep them happy, especially his dad. And then, like, maybe if his dad were to pass away, his mom would be like, go. Because it's really the dad that's keeping him, I think. His dad and, like, his dad's status and power.
Yeah. Well, we should have gotten another epilogue. Or after his dad's funeral, we see him. No, I don't know. Yeah. And like I kind of just like glazed over it, but we do see like Manbok like being sent to Pyongyang, so like he has a happy ending, and like the older brother does get to be the chairman of like the dad's company. And Sari's like, you did a good job by deciding to hire a manager. So I don't know, like, I feel like everyone else got a happy ending except for the two main couples that we spent so much time with.
Yeah.
So.
And that you start to root for.
Yeah. Anyway,
that was the show.
That was the show. It was... How would you rate it?
I would probably give it, like, an 8 out of 10.
8? Okay.
I was trying to think of, like, a funny way to rate it, and I can't think of anything. It's too late.
9 out of 10 confusing North Korean emails.
8 out of 10 armored trucks.
Yeah. What would be like a 10 out of 10 drama for you? Have we watched any that you would rate a 10?
I really liked Beyond Evil. I really liked Itaewon.
The Uncanny Counter.
Uncanny Counter. I would say those are like 10-10. We're like very, very, very close.
Yes. I feel like this one in Hotel de Luna, I like loved up until the last episode, and then I had to rewrite it with my own fan fiction to make the ending satisfying or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like so very good up until the ending. Okay, so let's run through some awards super duper quick, and then we can say goodbye. Okay, favorite main character.
I'll go with City.
I will also go with Sadie. Jung-hyuk is very handsome, but
he's very quiet and like I don't feel like I really got to know his character the way I got to know hers.
Yeah. Okay, favorite side character. I loved Drama Loving Baby. And I really liked the Colonel's wife. Those are like my two favorites.
I think I'll go with the Jerk Baby because he made me laugh the most.
Yeah,
and he would like say jerk things, but like you knew he cared about her secretly. He loved her, and he also just did so well in South Korea and was just so funny. I don't know.
When he gets that job, like being a valet at the chicken restaurant.
He was a standout character for me. Like all the other boys too, I kind of just like confused them all.
Oh yeah.
Like they were just like cute little babies and I wouldn't see them a lot, but he has weird features too where his face just like stuck with me. It was like I knew immediately who he was every single time. I wasn't like, wait, which one is he? Which soldier is this? Who's talking? Because I don't remember any of their fucking names either. But
I don't remember.
He just has a very distinct face about him. I know him. He's the jerk.
Yeah, he's the jerk. Okay, favorite I love you moment. I only wrote down 2 because I was like, I can't think of any right now. I said Sadie running to give Jung-hyuk her last hug before he crosses the border, and Sadie and her mom reconciling. I also liked their first real kiss after Jung-hyuk gets shot, and he's like, "Get off of me!" And then Sadie goes out and cries, and then he like goes and finds her. I think that one might be my favorite. Or when he's hugging her after the surprise party failed. That one was another crying moment.
I'll say when she crosses the first border, when he like lets her go, and then he goes after her. That was a sweet moment.
Yeah, that's a good one. They have a lot. Such a sweet couple. Okay. Best screw you / revenge moment. I feel like there were a lot in this drama. So I said Dan giving the South Korean authorities evidence the second brother was involved in everything. The village lady saving the lady with bangs, Nam-bok's wife, after figuring out those guys are fake. Sadie playing the audio of her brother and his wife being shitheads and basically saying they hope she dies. And Jung-hyuk's dad shooting his enemy after he tries to kill Jung-hyuk and the nice babies.
I will go with Jung-hyuk's dad shooting the enemy. Because that was pretty unexpected. Yeah. But he would be the one to just, like, show up there.
I'm ending this.
Yeah, and, like, no fucking questions asked. He's just like, I saw what I saw. Goodbye.
Yeah. Because he kind of looks like a frail old man.
Yeah.
And then he, like, comes out of the woods, like, out of nowhere.
Yeah, like, at his house, he's always just sitting in that chair. Quiet. Just listening and watching.
Yeah, I think that one might be my favorite. But I do love Sadie, not just playing the audio, but just her being like, I'm back, screw you, screw you, screw you.
Yeah.
And like getting back at her family, basically. Okay, and then final award that Jill came up with was favorite escape attempt. I have like a half escape attempt, which is just like ridiculous, where Sadie's like, I'm just gonna paraglide back to the south, and then she jumps off with Jung-hyun just like
sitting on her, basically.
Yeah, it's just so ridiculous, but like also so good. But then I will also say like the actual attempt that worked when you know, he like crosses to give her one last goodbye kiss.
My favorite escape attempt, I'm gonna say when they're supposed to take her to the airport. And she's supposed to be like a fucking track star again. First time track stars are mentioned. Because it's a really, really, really good plan. And they have everything planned out. But then it like goes to shit immediately during the drive over there. And everything gets insane. And just shots fired and big trucks and car chases and motorcycles, and it's a lot.
His hair blowing
in the wind. Yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot. That's a good one. Also, shout out to the first one too, where they're just on that boat to boat. That was also a very good plan.
So many good plans that were thwarted.
I know. All right. Well, that is it for us today and Crash Landing on You. Okay, drama! Hello, guys. Kaitlin here in the editing room, aka my office. So, this was recorded a while back. Life kind of got crazy for me and Jill, so it took me a while to get this up. I think we will be taking a short break from the podcast just because we have a lot going on, but stay tuned to our Twitter and we will let you guys know what we're watching next. But if you have any suggestions, if you're like, guys, you really need to watch this, tweet us or send us an email and let us know, and maybe we will do an episode on it. Okay, I will send you guys back to past Kaitlin and Jill. Okay, drama! So yeah, Jill and I don't have a new show planned yet, so I'll put a poll up. Y'all tell us what y'all want us to watch. I think that's it. So yeah, follow us on Twitter at OKDramaPod. Let us know, and we will talk to y'all next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay, drama!